You are now watching the Juke Boys Sports Show. We are back in the building at Fitboxer Studio here with the homie Kai. I'm your host, King Ralph. What's happening, bro? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's a wonderful day outside, a wonderful day to be here. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Okay. I was thinking more of a Mr. Rogers neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. But I'm feeling great, man. How about you?
Be my neighbor.
I'll be your neighbor. I'm your neighbor for the day right here. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we in here though. We in here though. Give me some.
For sure, man.
Rocking. Well, just to get the joint going, Juke Boys Sports Show. It's being brought to you by Fitboxer Studio. So make sure if you want to call and book any sessions, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707-FITBOXER. If you want to book any podcasts, photo shoots, music videos, there's a really big green screen on the other side of the room. A lot of creative ideas and things that can go down on that side. I'll make sure I put some in on my socials. I got a TikTok, bro.
Oh, you got a TikTok?
Yo, man,
so you leveling up. Welcome to the 21st.
Slightly, bro.
You know?
I was watching this dude, man, and he before we get into the show, I was watching this guy. He was talking about the ways to build a social media following. Mm-hmm. He was like making sure you post daily.
Right. That's key.
And so TikTok gives me a little bit of inspiration, motivation to post daily. Especially it's such a popular thing that like I might have 15 followers.
That's fine. You're starting off.
And I created it on Friday.
Yeah.
But I already got like on the 4 videos that I've posted, it's like 500 views. And that's with 15 followers. So it's like, imagine if I actually had a big following, how many views you can get.
Right.
So like that's why I eventually used it. But to go back, make sure you call the number on the bottom if you want to book a session, get up on this green screen. But we're gonna jump right into it, man. Regardless of how you feel about it, I feel like the play-in was a success.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing to me. It was very exciting.
Right.
Stimulating, kept my attention. I'm a basketball fan, and I feel like even if you're not an NBA fanatic, I think it was your first time watching NBA basketball or basketball of any kind. Guys like Steph Curry, Ja Morant, and others, LeBron, Ramon, James, they all put on a great show.
Right.
For the fans out there, for the non-fans out there. So that's kind of my takeaway from the playing game in terms of just the level of excitement that was there.
But with that, I actually called this. I said that the Warriors would lose to the Grizzlies and that they would lose to the Lakers. The Lakers would get in, Grizzlies would get in. Mm-hmm. How do you feel? Does this change anything as far as Steph's legacy losing this game?
Okay, so I know in prior, that both me and you, we had discussed, we had a topic regarding Stephon Curry, right?
Right.
And I've always believed that if you are a unanimous MVP, you are an all-time great by hell or high water. It behooves you to get your team into the playoffs. Obviously, the Western Conference is called the Wild West for a reason,
right?
And I could really go into deep detail on that on another show. But it really is. It is the toughest conference in the NBA, right?
Right.
With Stephen Curry, though, in this situation, he didn't have the greatest of teams, but I feel like his legacy, quite frankly, is cemented due to him being a media darling. Now,
right.
Let me preface my comments by this. Steph Curry is one of my favorite players. And so being one of my favorite players, me personally, I hold all my favorite players to a high standard. For much is given, much is required. Right. I consider him the greatest off-ball mover of the basketball. I consider him to have a Shaq-like impact from the perimeter while being as a three-point shooter and three-point sniper. And he is one of the best and easiest players to play with.
Right.
From just a locker room guy. You never hear any issues in the locker room. The way he places the floor, the way he's willing to, get others involved. So I think the fact that he's already been a 2-time MVP, 1-time unanimous MVP. Okay. He's beaten LeBron James, in the NBA Finals, even though, some people could say, well, his team was better and he hasn't won the Finals MVP. I don't think from the media perspective, it would be taking a hit because I'm still hearing conversations of him being in the MVP conversation as an MVP finalist. So I think just the perspective of what they're saying, it doesn't take a hit. For me, it makes me look at Steph Curry in someone of a certain different light because he had the option. He had a play-in scenario, right? And so teams in years past never had the play-in scenario, right? Where you could actually, you could lose a game and then, I can play another team and get a chance to get in. But in this scenario, he played a lower-seeded Grizzlies team, after he lost to the Lakers, and the Lakers team was a team that some people were talking about chemistry issues. In terms of just not being on the court a lot together with LeBron being injured and Anthony Davis. So for me, it takes somewhat of a hit, but I'm not going to say a catastrophic hit. I think I've kind of warmed up a little bit to the idea of, this season. I mean, Steph Curry was just he was amazing. He was amazing, but I don't think we can just unequivocally consider him the greatest point guard of all time, just for me.
Right.
What about you in terms of that?
Me personally, man, I don't think that it's taken a big hit. I do think that him being able to get his team in the playoff hunt, and I mean, they made the playoffs.
Yeah,
technically they made the playoffs. Yeah. So he got his team to a playoff berth. They lost in the play-in to two teams that were just better teams. Now, you can argue whether or not who was the best player on the court. Right. And I think in both instances, you can argue that it was Steph. I think with both, even with LeBron on the court, you got to look at how they were playing. Nobody was playing better than Steph.
Oh, easily.
So he's easily the best. He's easily the best player on the court. So, like, I'm not going to say it takes too much of a hit. It does make me reevaluate things, though, because you start to look at certain things.
The Dylan Brooks game too, by the way, was kind of
right. And so you think about how much he turns the ball over.
Speak on it.
And that's where you start to have those questions, as I was telling my brother the other day, because we were having a conversation of the point guard position and whether or not Steph is the best point guard of all time.
Right.
And I was just like, honestly, if you're gonna throw in the word point guard, then I'm gonna look at what the point guard position is supposed to do.
Right.
And how it's supposed to be played. Now, I think he's the best shooter of all time. I don't know about mover without the ball, because Reggie and Rip were fantastic. Ray Allen was another.
But and I think it's also subjective. I was gonna just say this, interject this. Reggie did out of his own mouth last year on TNT while he was calling the game. He did give Steph the props as the best, because I think with him, I'm not saying Reggie didn't move, but I really think, especially during the Memphis game, if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe Reggie even, like, Steph will move for like 45 minutes. Like, he just nonstop.
I think the only person that moved as much is Rip.
Rip. I think Steph
Rip was moving.
Picks. Yeah.
Rip was you're chasing Rip.
Yeah.
You're chasing his team got the ball for 24 seconds. You're gonna chase him for at least 22.
And that's why I think it's subjective, because I think if you're saying off ball movement in addition to the shooting from the logo, like he's moving off the ball to shoot to the logo. But I get what you say.
Yeah. I do think that he's the best. I do think he's the best shooter of all time. But when we start talking about the point guard position, you got to think like, all right. So and we're going to eventually talk about this. The Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul gets injured and hurts his shoulder. Nobody. The one thing that we were like when Chris Paul started turning the ball over or losing his dribble, was like, all right, something's got to be wrong with him. Where if Steph is to do that same thing, it's just like you take the good with the bad.
Right.
And it's like, your point guard shouldn't be so sloppy with the ball. Then when you start thinking about leadership, that third quarter, that doesn't happen to a Phoenix Suns team, because Chris Paul's leadership is like, no, we're not giving up this rock. And they averaged in this game one, they had 7 turnovers, 8 turnovers by halftime, and they averaged 12 on the season. So then you got to think about like the Warriors and how much they were turning that ball over. That was the difference in them losing that game. So that's the one thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to harp on them too much, but it does make me look a little bit because of that leadership factor. But
I actually agree with you on that.
With that, we're going to use this, slide into these game ones, man. We were just watching the Celtics and Nets game. The Phoenix Suns being able to hold on to a victory against the Lakers. I actually think they won by double digits. I know they were up by 15 at one point, and then the Lakers were able to come back, and I think they pulled away.
They won by 9. I only remember that because the Clippers, the rival team, they lost by 10.
Oh, okay.
So the Lakers got lucky on that one.
And then
because it seemed like it was gonna be a blowout.
Clippers lose to the Mavs.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Celtics are able to hold on.
Yeah.
In a Robert Williams, shout out to you, bro. Balled out with the turf toe.
Yeah.
Almost almost have a triple double with 9 blocks?
Something like that. This dude was balling though.
Yeah. And then Wizards and Sixers. Sixers do it. I thought they would do. Joel Embiid definitely showed his dominance. Tobias balled out when they needed him the most. So what is your biggest takeaways from all of the game ones this postseason? So
I would like to quote from Eminem's 8 Mile regarding I want to send my condolences to the Boston Celtics in this Brooklyn Nets series because you don't stand a chance. You don't stand a chance. Oh man, 8 Mile. Look, man, it's already 55-80 currently in this game. And the last game, look, they shot 27%, the Brooklyn Nets, from three-point land and still won by double digits. Not only did they win by double digits, but they held them under 100 points in that game. I think they had 93 or 94, the Boston Celtics. This is the team that we've never seen this culmination of talent in terms of scoring with James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. You have the most technically proficient point guard in terms of the skill wise, scoring wise, and Kyrie Irving, the way he's able to use the glass, the way he's able to ball handle his footwork. Then you have the greatest scorer of all time in Kevin Durant. It's not Kareem. Kareem has the stats and longevity, but Kevin Durant turned a low percentile 3-point shot into a high efficiency shot where he can shoot 50, 40, 90. He can give you 90 from the stripe, 40 from the from three, and then 50 from the field, right? And then Kyrie Irving pretty much joined the club as well.
Exactly.
And then you have James Harden, who trades the mid-range for 3s and 2s, but he's cooking you either way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we look at Jalen Brown. I heard Jalen Rose earlier. Shout out to two different Jalens. He said that if Jalen Brown had played, he believes the Celtics would have won this game. Well, maybe that might happen, but who knows in terms of how it affects the rest of the teammates? Because I mentioned to you, behind the scenes, how Kemba Walker, it seemed like when Jalen and Kemba, it seems like Kemba seems to take away from Jalen and vice versa. And so I actually think the Boston Celtics need a playmaking point guard, actually.
Right.
And that's a whole nother topic.
First.
Yeah, pass first, like a Lonzo Ball type.
Right.
So, that series, they don't stand a chance. Like, it went the way I thought it would. I think the return of the fans, you know what I'm saying, was an adjustment period for the Brooklyn Nets. KD even was very transparent about that post-game. And he said, so once they got into a rhythm, it was all sails moving. So that series, they don't stand a chance. The Milwaukee Bucks and Miami Heat series, I don't know if you mentioned that one, but
no, I did not.
That's, there's no problem. That one is Giannis, okay. He has an improved post game, and I thought we would see it in this series, but it seems more, it's just like Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday taking over. You know what I'm saying? Which I thought that was going to be an addition involving Giannis. Plus Giannis's post game, I thought it was going to be a collection where you see everyone clicking. All three of them didn't need to click in the first game.
The one thing I'll say about that, and I definitely want to bring this up, is
definitely.
that we've kind of been seeing it all year.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Heat, where last year they look like this hungry bunch.
Yeah, the bubble
that was ready to. And I'm not even gonna say it's the bubble because it's even during the season.
Okay.
Before the bubble, there was a certain aura that was around the Heat.
Yeah, they did play the Lakers to the wire.
Right.
Miami.
It was a certain aura that was around the Heat before the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And going into the bubble, it just looked like, all right, cool. I'm definitely I was rocking with this Heat team.
Yeah.
It's something about it that made me say, I'm gonna take this Heat team. Then now we're out of the bubble. Now at this point, Tyler Hero's a star, supposedly. There's a whole song named after him. He doesn't look like he has the same hunger he had last year.
All right.
Jimmy Butler played stagnant, but he still played very well on the defensive end. It's just his offensive game. He's got to step that up. Yeah. But it's just like as a team, they just don't look as hungry as they were last year.
All right.
And so that's why I think you don't need Giannis to have hit that post game yet.
Not in this
particular series.
Yeah, because if you look at it, they have Dedmon and Bam, which aren't really good matchups for him.
No.
Yeah, at all.
And so it's like, all right, cool. Yeah. But the others got to pick up.
Exactly.
Others. Shout out to Shaq.
The others.
But it's facts though, because like people like Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, you're gonna assume that Giannis is gonna be the one coming at you. Right. And so for them to be able to step up, where if you go and look, Chris Middleton historically has not played well in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And not too many people bring that up. We always want to harp on Giannis because he's the star, the defensive player of the year, 2-time back-to-back MVP.
Yeah. For much is given, much is required.
Exactly. But it's like but Chris Middleton gets to fly underneath the radar because nobody's talking about it. But he's finally got and he's playing very well. So
yeah,
when I brought this topic up, I didn't want to. We could talk about every individual one, but I just wanted to. My biggest takeaways,
our footnotes,
is that this Heat team is not as hungry.
They're going home in 5.
Yeah, they're definitely going to go home in 5. The Bucks, the others, the complimentary stars. Because Chris Middleton is a star. He's just not a superstar.
Yeah, they shot a barrage of threes.
Right. And they were hitting like at an all time like nobody's seen anything like this type rate. Right. In the first quarter, right out the gate, they look like the Heat from last year. How well they were shooting. And so with that we go and then with that we go over. And my other big takeaway is if I'm the Clippers,
I was just about to say that.
Don't panic.
Okay.
Because you were getting good shots.
Mm-hmm.
You were getting to the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
You were now the one thing I would say is at a certain point you got to get some stops. And then when they started getting stops, they stopped making free throws. And they stopped hitting shots. So then it's like, all right, if you were able to do both, they win that game. Now, if it was 5th, we'd all be drunk. But at the end of the day, you could still take that and be like, let's build on this. Mm-hmm. So don't panic. That's the one thing that I would say, and then I'll let you take the rest of this segment before we go to the next one.
I'll say, obviously for like the sake of time on that, I'll say with the Clippers, because I've watched the Clippers and Lakers a lot, and so obviously everyone knows I talk about them a lot. Because my favorite player does play for them, Kawhi Leonard. But it's pretty much this. On paper, the Clippers, once again, I know people get tired of hearing it, but on paper, they really do have a good team. They have all the requisite pieces to win a championship or make the NBA Finals, right?
Right.
But my 2 takeaways. One, Paul George, the first half of the game, okay, he didn't play well. He was trending pandemic P. The second half, he hit 6 for 8 of his shots. He was balling. I believe he scored like 16 points or whatever like that. He played well. There was a 3-point shot where he came down and just chucked it up at the beginning of the shot clock. And Ty Lue mentioned it post game. That kind of was a momentum killer. And the others, as Shaq would like to say, for the Mavericks, they actually hit shots. Luka scored 1 point. He was held to 1 point in the fourth quarter. So they're cooking, the Clippers for, you can't contain Luka. And the first half, the first 3 quarters was the case. But in the fourth quarter, he got shut down. And Porzingis didn't show up. So if I'm the Mavs, they have some hope because, Porzingis didn't even play well. He had like 10 points. But if I'm the Clippers, it was a lack thereof, like you said, getting stops. So pretty much piggyback on what you said. And also, I'm going to be completely honest with you. We say don't panic. But the one thing, it is true, they've had trouble closing games. But there's also games that I've seen when they've actually closed this year.
Right.
So that's why I really want to see game 2. But I did see that it was like they just mentally just like collapsed. And I was like, whoa. Now, though, I think what they're going to do is you have to make adjustments on Luka. Stop doing that stupid switching. And I think we should talk about this just for the last like 45 seconds.
Right.
I'm going to ask you straight up. I know the answer. And there's different ways. You could throw Batum. You could throw Terrence Mann. You can throw Kawhi and PG and show him different looks. That's one way. Or for much is given, much is required. Kawhi Leonard is known as the Claw. His defense, due to athletics or due to injuries, he may not be as laterally as quick, but definitely I've seen him lock up Luka earlier this year. No one talks about that. In Dallas, they beat them. should Kawhi Leonard man up and go to Ty Lue and be like, look, I'm taking Luka. Because I know people talk about it, but as my favorite player, at some point, I'm kind of like, I have to be objective. It's like, bro, you need to just take that dude out. Even if it's not the whole game, take him out in the third and fourth quarter. What do you think? I want your opinion.
I wouldn't say take him for the whole game.
Yeah, because I think you would. Yeah, you
because that's doing too much.
Right.
That's doing too much. Like I would say for the first, I'd even say the first 3 quarters, unless he starts cooking.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like you throw different bodies at him for 3 quarters, and then Kawhi, we gotta get stops, bro. So
you got to stop him.
You got to stop him.
Yeah.
One of you two. So if the best player on the team, if regardless of leadership, if the best player on the team is supposed to be Kawhi, and everybody is recognizing that he's the best defender at least, then go be the best defender.
All right.
And so I don't think that I wouldn't do it for. I would at least do it for throw different bodies at him, throw a PG, throw a Terrence Mann, a Rondo,
even Batum's getting steals.
Right, a Kawhi, and mix them guys in, and then see what happens, and if what's from that, I probably would go with whoever is the better defender, rock with that. But at least in the fourth quarter, unless he gets cooking, and it's like there's nothing you can do about it, I'm not going to throw Kawhi on him in that moment because it doesn't matter. He's hot. Everything he's throwing up is going to get the rim. So and that's where I do think that sometimes people a coach will make an adjustment too late, and the person gets cooking.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, if they go down 0-2, people like the series is over, which probably is, unless you believe that the 2021 Dallas Mavericks are the 2019 Bucks and Luka is Giannis and Kawhi is going to rattle off 4 straight wins. Right. Which I don't believe is going to happen. So, all right.
And yeah, man. So it's we got 2 really big fights that were announced over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Wilder has been fighting for the right to party because he was supposed to be left out in Anthony Joshua, as well as Tyson Fury was supposed to fight each other in August, but now they're supposed to fight in July or August.
Right.
And now Wilder was able to, I'm gonna say arbitration. It was like a case pretty much, and somebody ruled in his favor to where Tyson Fury has to fight him.
Oh wow.
So now their fight set July 24th.
Okay.
As well over the weekend for my TikTok followers, they saw me talking about Earl, Spence and Pacquiao. They're fighting August 21st. Which of these 2 fights do you most look forward to? Sam?
All right. So Pacquiao getting put to sleep or Wilder losing again? Which is
what should happen. Pacquiao should be getting put to sleep.
So 2 L's. Let me see. I mean, there's going to get viewership. But here's the thing, right? I think with Fury and also excitement, Fury and Wilder, right? Smack talk, trash talk. There's a history there. Wilder, the dude was bleeding, like all that kind of stuff. I think, trilogies. I love trilogies.
Out his ear.
I love or rematches, trilogies, etc. The whole 9. The problem with that is, for me, to kind of answer the question is, I'm looking at Wilder and I see all the little training, but the dude needs to learn how to box.
Right.
Like if he he thinks, I'm in this short period of time, dude, there's still issues he has with his technique, man. That like sometimes some people are like, it's too late for him.
Right. It is.
It's too
like
late.
As much as I was a big fan of Wilder, but I knew going into it that it's like
that was the worst matchup possible.
You trying to wait and land one big shot, it's not going to work on this type of fire. That's why I wanted to see the Joshua fight, and so I want to see the trilogy. I
do, but it kind of makes me lean toward Pacquiao because I kind of feel,
Yeah, but I also me personally, I really don't want to see that fight, honestly. The Spence and Pacquiao fight.
Yeah, because it's like going to get slept on.
Yeah, he should. And Spence should be fighting Crawford, but for some reason, Bob Arum don't want to put his man in the ring with Earl Spence, and then he's trying to make it seem like it's not him that doesn't want to make the fight, and it's so. Because it's like that whole 60-40 split thing that's going on. It's like, obviously, who's the hotter fighter? Who's fought the better competition?
Right.
Earl Spence between Crawford and Spence. So it's like, but this person is ranked pound for pound, so he feels like he should get more just split that joint 50-50 because I've fought better fighters than anybody that you've. My top 3 fights is better than anybody you've ever fought.
Fact.
So it's like it's like you can't even try to sit here and argue that.
Yeah,
like if you want to pay so much attention to this pound for pound ranking, let's go through who is on this pound for pound list and see who's fought better fighters. And it's like for me, as I'm just not trying to watch this Pacquiao fight, but I will be watching it though.
For free.
But the Wilder, yes, for the free
99 is
right,
Snoop
right.
Dogg would say.
Exactly. But like, yeah, bro. So like, I'm not really. I'm looking forward to seeing it just because I love watching Earl Spence fight.
Right.
I'm still a big fan of Manny Pacquiao. I just feel like he's just old now. Like, this is what it's coming down to. He should not. Or I know sometimes Earl Spence, his problem with me when I watch him is there's some people like, bro, just go destroy them.
All right.
Even in his last fight, like, bro, just go destroy him. Right. And then he eventually did, but it just took too long to where you taking punches, bro.
So here's the thing. I was going to mention this. You remember how Bernard Hopkins went out?
Yeah, don't do that, Manny. Homie got knocked out the ring.
If Manny goes out like that, man, oh my goodness, bro. He's going to be trending on Twitter, not for the day, for the whole month, man.
Bro,
just off the
whole Filipino community is going to be hurt.
On God, man.
Because he already was a sleeping position.
Right. Before he was a
whole meme.
He was a meme, man.
And they was like, yo.
Right. He'll go from a meme.
How do you sleep? Like, yo,
right.
Yeah, I sleep in that Manny Pacquiao position.
Manny Pacquiao. Look at me. If you go out like Bernard Hopkins, you will never recover. Your legacy will forever be tarnished.
Don't do it, Brody. Don't do it, man.
Don't do it.
Let this one be your last. Like, right. Your saving grace.
Yeah.
And bow out gracefully.
All right.
We will be talking about these 2 fights in more depth on a later show. Let us know what you guys think. If you want to be a part of the conversation, let us know as well. But with that, we're gonna use this extra time and talk about the boy Julio. Pardon me, I never really looked into it, but when I watched the clip, I was just like, does he know he on air?
Yeah, that was a question. Marcus Spears was on Twitter asking that. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, I'm not saying he didn't know, but nobody confirmed it.
Because I also feel like, all right, they're not gonna have him. This is a live broadcast, and what if Julio answered the phone and on some like, hey, what up?
That's what I said. Yeah.
And so I'm like, there's no way that they okayed for him to call while on live on the set.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like he knew, but at the same time, I mean, it's time for me to get it off my chest. Yeah, right. Bro, I'm out of here.
All right.
So Julio says he wants out.
Yeah. Right. So Julio says that he wants out, and so we're kind of discussing the potential teams whether we feel that he might go to or the best fit for him. And so in this situation, I'm looking at what he specifically said and what makes the most sense. Ultimately, you know, if you watch ESPN or watch any of these sports networks, the one thing that I found is they don't know where he's going.
No,
they have no idea. This kind of reminds me of the Kawhi situation. This kind of reminds me of what else?
That whole situation was irritating.
Horrible, right? They had like they did like the OJ watch, man. Like, look, he's at the airport, he's at the hotel. Look, I'm just gonna keep it real. When ESPN has no idea, they list like 10 different names, 10 different teams. I've heard Chargers, I've heard Ravens, I've heard Patriots, I've heard Rams, and then somebody that looks like a low budget Jeff Saturday, not Jeff Saturday, but the skinny version of him on I think NFL or whatever that show is, NFL Live. He said Detroit Lions. I said, child, please. So look,
I was gonna say, first off, he said he wanted to win. So please take those Lions up out of here.
So I'm just using. Let's look at the facts, right? The facts, Ralph. The facts of life.
Right.
So the facts of life are this: Julio Jones is 32 years old, the second greatest wide receiver of his era behind Antonio Brown. That's just the facts, right? Julio Jones can do everything, but he said, "I want to go to win." Secondly, the Atlanta Falcons said, "Well, they don't want to have to trade him in the NFC within the conference, but I also heard that they would go for the best offer." Now, I will combat this by saying this. You may not want to trade him within the conference, but you suck anyway, so why does it matter to you?
Right.
Anyway, like if you were a contending team or a playoff team, it would matter. But they suck. So since they suck, he has a likelihood of going to the NFC, so I kept that open. So I'm looking at teams like the Rams. Jalen Ramsey said, yes, I'm trying to recruit people. He wants to win. Well, you have the best corner in the league in Ramsey. You have the best defensive tackle in Aaron Donald. Now add another weapon. Let Robert Woods play in the slot outside. Let Cooper Kupp play in the slot outside. And you upgraded your quarterback from Jared Goff to Matt Stafford.
That boy be slanging.
Right. You're used to being in the NFC. You have a offensive brilliant mind to coach in Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you could be that piece, that proverbial piece that puts them over the top. Period. You know, they thought it was a quarterback. Now you pair him with a big body receiver. So the Rams are a team that I'm looking at. I'm not going to go too much into financial transactions because I like to say the cap is cap. People don't like to say that, but I don't want to get too much into the numbers because I feel like if you really want something, you will make it work. I've seen it happen more than often.
Mm-hmm.
Another team, I will give credence to the Tennessee Titans. Now, as a Ravens fan, I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to give credence. I don't see Julio being a Titan in Tennessee, but hear me out. They did lose Corey Davis. They did not replace Corey Davis, right? With anyone who's I think they got a rookie, but you know, if you're trying to win, you know, it can't depend on a rookie receiver. You have AJ Brown there. You have Derrick Henry.
Not everybody comes in like Justin Jefferson.
Right. You have Derrick Henry.
Anquan Boldin.
Yeah, exactly. And Tannehill, he can play with those big. He had those two big receivers, 6'2", 6'3".
Right.
So now you have him there. And they are a proverbial contender that gives the Baltimore Ravens, my team, a problem.
Right.
Then the other team, for me, I actually believe, and I'm not just being a homer, they were linked to him before. Eric DeCosta allegedly showed interest to him before the Baltimore Ravens. And here's why. Just my final piece on this. Because Ravens fans, even during the draft, they go back and forth, guys, with this kind of stuff. Julio Jones can make sense for the Ravens because Lamar Jackson always needed a true number one receiver. They drafted 2 receivers in the NFL draft, but they're rookies.
Right.
They signed Sammy Watkins, who was not coveted by any team except Baltimore. Sammy Watkins has never played a full NFL season since 2015, his rookie year.
Right.
Okay. He's not going to play a full season. He's not going to be the number one receiver on the Ravens. He goes down. Every single rookie wide receiver who becomes a star, right, has had a mentor. T.O. had Jerry Rice. Randy Moss had Chris Carter. You know what I'm saying? Reggie Wayne had Marvin Harrison. Julio Jones had Roddy White. Right. Rashad Bateman wears number 12. Julio Jones wears number 11. You can bring him in there. You get a big body possession receiver who can also catch the ball deep. He's a veteran receiver. He's 32 years old. The Baltimore Ravens are one of the top 2 teams in the NFL in terms of retiring players and treating veterans right. Anquan Boldin went there when he was 32.
Right.
Steve Smith went there when he was 35. I believe he's 35 or 32. And Derek Mason went there when he was 32 years old. They're all former Pro Bowl players, and some of them are future Hall of Fame receivers, and they always wound up retiring with the Ravens. Even if they left the team, they come back and sign a contract to retire to the Baltimore Ravens. He has a relationship with Shannon Sharpe, a former Baltimore Raven.
Right.
The Baltimore Ravens, I don't care about the run-centric offense. Julio Jones has won everything. Get Lamar Jackson, Julio Jones, and there you go. And some people are like, well, that's all. What about all the receivers? Look, how many receivers does Tom Brady currently have?
All of them.
Exactly. So I actually think they're a sleeper. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I just believe that we will find out in June. They're either going to sign Justin Houston or they're going to sign somebody else whose name starts with a J. That's my case. You like that? That's my case, you know.
I feel it, man. Like
you thought of that in your bedroom, didn't you?
I feel it, man, because I definitely would like with that. I do think that I seen it was a picture with AJ Green, Michael Irvin, DeAndre Hopkins, and Julio.
Right.
And it's like to think about, like, 'cause at first I was just like, bro, you can't have all the wide receivers.
Right.
But then when you think about it, like, all right, so you got DeAndre Hopkins. And then you put
they have Kirk, right?
Then you got Julio on the other side. Then you can throw Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald, or AJ Green in the slot to just get first downs, big moments, good hands. Although when AJ Green is healthy, still a decent receiver at this point in his career, although injuries have riddled his career to where he's no longer that. You can't have the argument anymore between him and Julio.
Right.
But at one point, when they were coming into the league, there was an argument to be made. And so,
that's true.
But as far as Arizona, I actually think that's a rather interesting setup there. I've seen him. I seen something where there was an article about how he wanted to play with Cam Newton.
Yeah, I did see that, but I also believe that's bluff because a lot of times when they say that, if a player actually says that, it's the opposite.
Right.
Because we thought that Marvin Jones would go play with I think Stafford and the Rams, and that didn't happen. So
right.
I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but I'm just looking like we talk like Mac Jones, if he becomes a starter, like.
Right. And I do think that
they're a possibility though.
I do think that the Patriots are a good possibility. The signings that they made on the defensive end, the advancements that they made on the offensive end as well. Julio coming in, and where on the I Am Athlete podcast, Cam Newton stuck up for N'Keal Harry. Yeah. And so now you get someone like Julio who now N'Keal Harry is not the big body receiver that Julio is, but he's not small.
Right.
So to kind of mentor him, bring him along, now you got a Nelson Aguilar,
right?
Hunter Henry, Smith, and you piece that together. Now you actually give Cam Newton some weapons. Where it's been a long time since Cam Newton had some good wide receiver weapons. Right. Where I do think that a lot of times with Cam, he gets a bad rep where he doesn't have the receivers to throw the ball to. So how am I supposed to sit there and make something out of nothing? Where now I'm older, so I no longer have that same athletic ability where I can consistently do this. But he showed that he could throw the ball.
Right.
So I do think that adding Julio, those would be the two teams that I would like to see him go to the most, just because I definitely don't want to see him go to the Cowboys because he's just not going to win.
He already said he's
not going to win. So don't go there, bro.
Right.
Stay, run far away.
Right.
Veto that trade if you got to. Retire if they trade you there.
Julio also likes to do one thing that we didn't mention. It was just kind of strengthen my pitch to Julio.
What, the run block?
But he does that too. He did say he does that too. He says he run block. He said that like back in 2015 or whatever he was in the league. He said I run block to show young wide receivers I do everything. So Julio's really humble.
Right.
Remember that interview he did with when Roddy was still in the league and Deion Sanders was trying to be like, who's number one? He's like, it don't matter. Right. Julio's really humble. I'm sure, like, he does care to some degree because everyone cares. Right. But I think he values winning so much. But I was going to say this: he likes to fish. If you ever follow him on Instagram, he loves to fish.
But I was going to say he's a country boy.
Chesapeake Bay, man.
I was going to say from Alabama, right?
He's from Alabama, but Chesapeake Bay, Bay, man.
Crabs, bro.
Exactly, crabs, rockfish, Maryland rockfish.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. But then again, New England, he can fish in New England as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just Cam's shoulder, Cam's arm, those things in terms of injuries. But I think it's more of, I don't think Julio would want to live in New England, but I think it's more the fact that Bill Belichick could be aggressive in getting him because he saw what Tom Brady did, and he's a competitor. Bill Belichick's not there to just tank.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So none of his moves this offseason said he was trying to tank.
Right.
So I'm going to give them a 45% chance out of like the 25% chance that everyone else has.
So if you had to pick a team, who you
being unbiased?
Being unbiased, yeah, just straight up unbiased. Honestly, just say whatever you're feeling, bro. Like if you really believe in your heart of hearts that the best fit for him is Julio. I mean, is the Ravens. Didn't say that jump.
I mean, I did say it before we got Bateman, so I'm just gonna, me.
put it out there, bro.
I'm out of all of Ralph's friends. One thing that Ralph knows about me is I'm not scared to go back to the well. One thing. So, because look, numerology, man. I'm going back to the well. I'm gonna go. I gotta go Baltimore, man.
Yeah,
I gotta go Baltimore. I want them to surprise me. I want them to.
I feel you.
Now we need to still fire Greg Roman, but that's another.
Yeah, that's a whole conversation.
Another episode.
I mean, I honestly would like to see him come on down to Las Vegas, baby. We need a big body receiver. Everybody we have is like 5'11" and smaller. Except for Waller, we had Tyrell Williams.
Doesn't Gruden like him too? He likes Julio.
You better like Julio.
I mean,
Who doesn't like Julio?
Gruden likes every Pro Bowler.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, you made the Pro Bowl? Come on down,
Right.
bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, we're gonna use the rest of the time we got left, man.
Right.
I forgot to put tight ends on the list, but we're also going to talk about tight ends.
Oh, we are? All right.
If you like.
No, because I think running back, wide receiver, and quarterback, we can get some good combo there.
Like that tight end position, it's like
After
Kelsey, and Kittle,
and our Andrews, and maybe Hunter Henry or whatever. So
after that is
right. Oh,
Waller. So you got
Waller might be the third.
He might definitely the third.
Yeah.
And after that,
because he's a receiver.
It's a dip.
Right.
After that.
Yeah. All right.
You dip, I dip with
right.
it.
Oh, wait, no. The second best tight end in the league already is Kyle Pitts. All right.
Right. That's the way they acting. He might be number 4. Shoot.
Like, he might come and get 1,000 real quick when Julio gone. Right.
Facts.
All right.
Automatically number one receiver.
Man, breaks every record.
But I'm gonna let you go first, bro, because to keep it 3,000 with you.
Yes.
I'm coming up with this list live on there.
Oh, cool. That's actually the best way to do. All right. So we're starting off with what? Quarterbacks?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go over our NFL positional rankings heading into the 2021 season, right? But we're going to start off with the quarterback position. So for my top 5 quarterbacks, I want to provide the criteria. First, I go off overall skill set of the quarterback position. I go off consistency, and I also go off how you perform in big moments. Okay?
Sure.
So, number 1, Pat Mahomes. Yes, the man that has been the nightmare for my team for many a season, Patrick Mahomes. The reason why he's number 1 is because, quite frankly, when you're talking about pure skill outside of the Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes might very well be, if not is, the most skilled quarterback currently playing in the NFL and one of the most skilled quarterbacks in NFL history. Is he a bit of a gambler? Is he a bit of a risk taker? Yes, but he seems to always make these crazy across his body throws, in critical situations, and it always happens. He's also played in the past 2 Super Bowls, so he has a level of consistency of winning. He's won in one of those Super Bowls with a playoff record of 6-2, and they were against 2 of the best defenses in the past 2 years. And the San Francisco 49ers, spearheaded by Joey Bosa, DeForest Buckner, Richard Sherman, they had the best front 4 pass rush.
Right.
Then he played the Tampa Bay Bucks with Shaq Barrett, my boy Devin White. He could be a Raven. You know what I'm saying? Vita Vea, and Ndamukong Suh, JPP,
right.
You know what I'm saying? I think Carlton Davis was the cornerback. They just had so much, and went up against the GOAT. Right. Then during the week 2 regular season versus a AFC playoff, rival, whatever you want to call it, the Baltimore Ravens, even though I don't call it a rivalry, it's a misunderstanding when you spank someone 3 straight times.
Right.
But anyway, 385 yards and 4 touchdowns versus the Ravens with 133.5 passer rating.
Right.
Now, this is after I believe Patrick Mahomes is rated like the 5th best player in the NFL or quarterback, whatever, or I think NFL player. And he started counting the number of touchdowns he had to show his ranking. Like, no, I'm number 1. I'm the captain. This is my league. Patrick Mahomes, he's amazing. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers, skill set. He can make every throw in the book. 14 games with a passer rating of over 100 last year. That was insane.
Right.
Career high, completed 70% of his passes. Versus the Rams, the number 1 defense in the NFL, the playoff time, 296 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He iced the game for the rest of the game. Versus the Bucs in the conference championship game, he may have lost 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 346 passing yards. They had the number 8 defense, and he's 12-9 in the playoffs, right?
Right.
And he has the highest quarterback rating ever in NFL history. Aaron Rodgers showed no signs of slowing down, and he was the MVP. So I have to have Aaron Rodgers number 2. Number 3, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, he's a dual threat quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is an underrated runner as well. So I had him over there, but Russell Wilson, like this dude, I always consider him the consummate professional. If you're a head coach and you want someone who's going to, run the 2-minute drill perfectly, make all the types of throws, make throws out of the pocket, play with a diminished and impoverished offensive line for multiple seasons, and never have an offensive line that was ranked ahead of the top, that was ranked in the top 25, Russell Wilson still produces. He still leads his team to the playoffs without a real running game. They've had multiple running backs come through there, man. They don't have Sean Alexander anymore. You know what I'm saying? They don't have Marshawn Lynch anymore.
Right.
They don't have those quarterbacks. The last 3 seasons, he had a quarterback rating over 100, completed 69% of his passes last season. His playoff record is 9-7. So, yeah. And go from there. So he's had those different things. And then number 4, I used to have Lamar Jackson here. I moved him down.
Oh.
I had to be objective. We always talk about all these other quarterbacks. And I feel like just because Tom Brady's old, we don't talk about him a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh. So with Tom Brady, it's the fact that he has a litany of history, okay, of performing in the highest level. Lamar Jackson, his playoff record, it's not that great.
No,
Now, obviously last year, injuries to his O-line,
right.
a center that couldn't snap the ball, the worst wide receiving core. We get that. So it's not all his fault. But when you're completing like 55% of your passes in the playoffs, it's like, people are gonna use the statistics against him.
Right.
And the fact that he struggles with throwing outside the numbers. So if I'm using criteria of making throws, right, I have to put, Tom Brady ahead of him.
Right.
Also, Tom Brady's ability to change plays at the line of scrimmage, Tom Brady's ability against the blitz, is spectacular. He's one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz, and he's won multiple Super Bowls, and he just beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Right. And he went through the toughest playoff run last season. So Tom Brady, off the leadership, off the intangibles, off the ability to consistently make every single throw. Is he the most skilled as Aaron Rodgers? No. Is he the most skilled as Patrick Mahomes? No. He himself will tell you that. But it's the cerebral and the mental intangibles that can't be shown up on a stat sheet that makes Tom Brady in that top 5. I'm not going to say he's like a top 15 quarterback. Like, he's not Tannehill. So I have to put Tom Brady there. Then finally, Lamar Jackson, dual threat quarterback, broke Michael Vick's single season rushing record for a quarterback, former unanimous MVP. Okay. Led the NFL in passing touchdowns before without a number 1 wide receiver and a run-centric offense. And the Baltimore Ravens, the last 2 seasons, have had the highest points per game total in the NFL. Now you give him a number 1 wide receiver. Now you give him a healthy O-line again, right? And if you actually open up the offense, imagine what he can do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you take away his passing, because people are like, well, if you take away his passing, he can still kill you with his legs.
Right.
Because that run game, they have good running backs, but they're in a role. Gus Edwards in a role. J.K. Dobbins in a role. Lamar Jackson is so great. He is the one that spearheads that rushing attack. We saw it against the Titans when things were going awry, one play, and he was automatically in the end zone. So I give credence to that, and that gives him in my top 5. Pro Football Focus ranked Lamar Jackson number 8. No unanimous MVP is down that far on the list.
Right.
He is better than Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
Him and Josh Allen were like, by the statistics, they said they were like similar. They had certain similar statistics, but Josh Allen had Stephon Diggs.
Right.
So I have to put him ahead of Josh Allen. So that's my top 5 quarterbacks. You want to give me your top 5 off the top?
I've been sitting here thinking about it the whole time, and I'll preface mine with I'm not this the legal stuff. We haven't talked about Deshaun Watson and his legal issues.
That's why I didn't add him.
It's definitely me. I'm looking at the football field. All that other stuff, I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is strictly the football field. That case is still open, so we are not talking about the case.
Right.
So I'm not gonna judge him based on that until he gets some charges and has some stuff paid out.
Okay.
And at that point, maybe I'll change my list.
So he's your number 1.
No,
I'm plus with you.
He's definitely number 4. I agree with you on the first 3.
Okay.
I agree with you on the first 3. I probably
right.
would flip flop Russell Wilson and honestly, what's my man's name? And Aaron Rodgers. Although he won the MVP, I do think that Aaron Rodgers has had just the consistency, the better O-line off rip.
Yeah.
Throughout his career.
Right.
He might not have a big name running back, but
underrated one.
But he's definitely had some underrated running backs throughout his career. And that's even throughout his whole career.
Right.
And so
Eddie Lacy.
Right. And he's had running backs that get close to 1,000 yards, if not eclipse the 1,000-yard mark. So it's like where Russell Wilson hasn't had that since Marshawn Lynch.
All right.
And so, and he didn't play with Shaun Alexander. So like it's crazy when we start thinking about the comparisons between the two.
Right.
They're both great at what they do. I just think that Aaron Rodgers has had the issues that Russell Wilson has. It's like he has to make something out of nothing.
And that's why I used to have my number 2 until I was pressed to actually make this list. The only reason why I switched it was last season, I saw him pressing like crazy.
Yeah.
When I didn't see him press before, but his team gave up a lot of points. But I'm like, I've seen his team give up a lot of points before and not press. And then I'm like, I just felt like he was actually like, it was almost like there was a little bit of regression there. And I didn't like it. Yeah. But it could just be a down season.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on how you view it.
And
I
honestly, I looked at it as like, all right, as soon as your defense is atrocious.
Right.
And then the offensive line is probably just as bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it doesn't matter if you got Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you only got so much time to get them the ball, where the offense is predicated on you pushing the ball down the field, which is also why I'm going to penalize Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Where you could say that Lamar Jackson is a system quarterback. Well, Tom Brady clearly is a system quarterback because he couldn't go into Arians' offense and make it work. They looked terrible.
Yeah.
And then he put in the Patriot way, the Tom Brady way, and we dink and dunk down the field. Now all of a sudden, they look like a whole new offense.
Right.
And it's like, where if you were supposed to be the GOAT, then you should be able to just make it work.
Yeah, I feel like with him, they were running 4 verticals a lot, and that was they were struggling, and they switched up. I think it was more of a chemistry issue. But then I think his arm, though, I will give you this, because people say, well, he couldn't throw the deep ball, but then the stats actually back up that he could throw the deep ball.
Right.
And so, like, if I'm proven wrong, I'm willing to admit something, right? With the statistics show that he could throw the deep ball, but I think in the playoffs is where he regressed. Because I think me and you, like, we watched, I think it was the Packers game. Some of the interceptions or some of those balls, like he was just like forcing him. Like I remember he tried that one. Well, actually, I think that one play did get caught by Mike Evans at the end of the game. But there was throughout the game, there was times when I'm like, bro, he's just trying to make something out of nothing.
Right.
And I've seen that with Favre at the end of his career.
And that's where I'll go.
I agree. Yeah.
I agree with you as far as Pat. There's no way to deny that. Pat.
Right.
I'm gonna go Russ at 2.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers at 3. Deshaun Watson at 4.
All right.
And then Lamar Jackson at 5.
Hey, I'm cool with my boy being ahead of Tom Brady.
And so, like, as far as the whole Tom Brady thing, it's just what he's able to do at this point in his career. I'm not judging him for his career in this list. I'm literally looking at how he played last year. Right. And he's going to be a year older. So I'm going to try to project going into this next season where I would rank him.
I got a question for you. Ryan Tannehill or Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
All right, just making sure.
I'm not that crazy.
Making sure where your mind is at, man.
Yeah, nah. Because then after Tom Brady's at 6, Josh Allen would get to 7.
Right.
But then we
take Derrick Henry away from him and see what.
And then at this point, we're going. Speaking of Derrick Henry, running backs.
All right, I'm gonna make people mad with this one.
I'm gonna let you go.
All right. I'm not gonna, for the sake of time, I'm not gonna go too in depth.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't even put little statistics in that. Even though I've seen the stats.
Yeah.
But stats can be whatever misconstrued.
Right.
My number 1 running back is Christian McCaffrey. Gasp. What? You didn't go with the Madden cover athlete? So, 1,000 yards, 1,000, 1,000 receiving, 1,000 rushing. The reason why I put Christian McCaffrey is because he was the offense.
Right.
In Carolina. I'm not saying Derrick Henry's not an offense, because when you put up 2,000 yards, the way he did, and you're putting up prime TD numbers, prime Terrell Davis for the young bucks out there that don't know. That's amazing. But Christian McCaffrey, I always feel like now I'm looking at the era, the running back has to be able to catch the ball in some capacity, or they excel. Right. Either in the backfield or line up. Christian McCaffrey can line up, run routes, catch, be a safety valve for the running back, number 1. All right, cool. I know he was injured, but I'm looking at overall skill set. Right. All right. Number 2, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is actually the closest thing you're going to get. I'm not saying the same, but the closest thing you're going to get in terms of Derrick Henry in a smaller package, but with a lesser offensive line. Okay. Right. Lesser weapons around him. Okay. And Kirk Cousins. Plus, Dalvin Cook, he came into the league, didn't have the hands, worked on his hands, and became a viable receiving threat. The only thing with Dalvin Cook is the what's that word? Some of the durability issues, because I think
it's injury prone.
Yeah, it's injury prone. But for me, I'm like, it's just how I look at it. I don't penalize you for like your skill unless you get in the you get on the field and oh my goodness, you lost all your quickness. All these running
Right.
backs are young. Even
Right.
did you know Zeke's only 25 years old?
Yeah.
I thought he was 28. But anyway,
Right.
I guess he got drafted. And he was like, because he got drafted his junior year.
Yeah. I was gonna say he's probably only 20 though, but he was like a true. He came in as a true freshman. He didn't sit for a year.
Okay, I'm like, man. But anyway, then I have Derrick Henry because I'm not gonna be capped, Right. But I'm gonna give some comments because I know people are cursing at me and if they're listening. The reason why I have Derrick Henry number 3 is I am a Ravens fan, right? And people talk, oh yeah, well, Derrick Henry, he's gonna kill you. But I care about how you perform in the playoffs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if your team's able to get there, obviously, it's a team effort.
Right.
So it's not individual. So I'm not going to knock Christian and Dalvin. But when he got there, okay, 2.2 yards per carry and 40 yards, child, please.
Right.
We shut all that down.
Right.
Once again, 2.2 yards per carry. Now, Ralph Lewis might be different. He might have Derrick Henry 1, 2, whatever. I'm just saying for me, what my team did with him, we laid the wood on him. And Mike Vrabel was seen on the sideline trying to talk to Derrick Henry while Derrick Henry was walking away with the attitude, trying to figure out what was wrong with Derrick Henry. We put the wood on him, specifically Patrick Queen. All right, and then number 5. Number 5, people might be seeing, is it Zeke? Is it whoever? Oh, actually, I have 2 more. So Saquon Barkley, and then Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
Alvin Kamara is not going to give you get a lot of rushing attempts, but he's still going to get close to that 800, 900 mark.
Right.
But this dude is hard to take down.
Right.
The dude looked like a receiver, a small receiver, like a slot receiver. And you hit him, and he's hitting you back.
Right.
It's like nuck if you buck. Like he's just hitting you back, running routes. He's consistently getting 80 catches back to back to back. That's like his mark. I'm going to give you 80 catches, a couple yards.
Right.
I'm going to be elusive, and I'm going to show up in division games.
Right.
So Alvin Kamara, I like those backs. I like to use him on Madden. So those are my top 5 running backs. Not too deep.
And with me, I'm gonna go. My list is kind of gonna be a little like that.
But with Josh Jacobs.
But I actually was sitting here thinking about it.
Yeah.
The whole package that all of those 5 of those running backs have to offer. I need to see another year before. Because I would say the only reason I would go with him over Saquon, even in an argument that I would even try, is that Saquon is the team prior to that, where they are at now. Thanks. Now they don't have to depend on him so much because they had, even when he went down, what was it? Galway?
Yeah, Galladay. They got Galladay now.
No, I'm saying the running back. I want to say it was like Wayne Galway or something like that.
Oh, Wayne Gallman.
Yeah. And he played. I picked him up. He actually helped me very well in my fantasy team, my fantasy league. And we got to the championship game, baby. But like, I would definitely go with Christian McCaffrey. I'm actually gonna go Derrick Henry. Just because of the
impact was great.
The impact is just bananas. Like it's coming, but there's very few teams that can know it's coming and stop it.
I feel like he's not in the top 3. It's just cap and hating.
Right.
It's hard hating.
And so for me, at that point, I would probably go Alvin Kamara at 3.
Okay.
Just because of the dual threat that he is. Mm-hmm. I would go Dalvin Cook at 4.
Okay.
And then probably Saquon. But it's him coming off that knee injury makes me nervous. So Josh Jacobs could be in that 5 spot, but it is what it is. Like there's some good running backs out there.
Yeah, like, I think it's like
I would probably have Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon very close unless if he's healthy.
There was a time
like a healthy Joe Mixon.
Yeah,
like he was balling and then he got hurt.
I feel like his days. I mean, he's young. I'm not trying to be like the dude was like as old as Earl Campbell.
Right.
But I feel like his time has passed in terms of being in that. At least for me in that hierarchy, I think he's in that second tier. And I think J.K. Dobbins is going to usurp him later, but that will get to
eventually, Like I do think that like this next season now, it's J.K. Dobbins got to show what type of running back he is. Right. And so next up, wide receivers is up, man.
Wide receivers. I know you love wide receivers, man. I know we love some wide receivers.
We're not going to take too much time. Right. I'm only going to allow this to go 5 minutes over.
Let's get it. All right. 1 minute receiver. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Right. 30. I'm going to give myself 30 seconds for this, right? All right. Who's the most highly coveted wide receiver right now?
Like to be had?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Julio.
Okay, Julio's number one. People are like, what? But he's always, no, if you check his injury history, nah, man, he's really not that injured. The reason why I put Julio is because simply this: he literally does everything except catch touchdowns. But every other receiver you could say has, I don't want to say a flaw, but they're more of a specialty. So Julio I was gonna have him number 3, but then I'm just gonna off the strength. I'm just gonna give him off his career accolades and everything and what I know he can do at his peak. I'm going Julio 1. I'm just gonna say it now. I'm playing like I'm making it different, a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So because I didn't want to kind of have to rank him amongst the young people, so I just got that out of the way. And then number 2, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Hands catching. He catches
Route
everything
running.
Underneath his legs.
Yeah.
The 3-band thing.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And with multiple quarterbacks. Number 3, Devonte Adams, the best route runner since AB I've seen. Like his releases, it made Chad Johnson cry. He had clearly the best season last year. That was undeniable. So much so that he said, I am the best. But because he said, I am the best, and I know some people might view that confidence differently, I always say, you're not the best. That makes you second best in my head. But
right.
But someone behind DeAndre, man. So Devonte Adams. And then number, I think 4, I had can't guard Michael Thomas. He's just going to catch.
Slant king.
The slant king. But he can kill you with the slant. Right.
Slant king.
Right. I know he had Drew Brees, but when you put up almost 1,800 receiving yards, child, please. You know what I'm saying?
I drafted this man at number 2.
Yeah.
In my league last year. And
really?
he played 2 games. That's how many games he played too.
Oh, wow.
I had Joe Mixon too.
Oh, wow.
That's why I said I'm surprised that there's no way I should have made it to the championship game, but I did.
I feel you on that. Number 5 is tough. That's why I'm kind of curious to hear your 5. Is it Stephon Diggs? Is it Tyreek Hill? Stephon Diggs. Could be somebody else. Tyreek Hill, you're going to get that spectacular play. He can open up the game. He can be a kick returner if we're counting that. He can catch a screen.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs has done different things with 2 different quarterbacks, and he's elevated Josh Allen's game. So I saw the impact of Stephon Diggs. Mm-hmm. Whereas Alex Smith had those same weapons that Mahomes had, but didn't go as far as Mahomes, and Mahomes set records with Tyreek Hill. So therefore, I'm going to go Stephon Diggs, only because I feel like Stephon Diggs impact.
Who's your 4?
4 was Michael Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go Stephon Diggs only because I believe Stephon Diggs' impact on his quarterback is greater than Tyreek Hill's impact on Mahomes. I feel like Mahomes has a greater impact on Diggs because he can distribute the ball farther down the field, which is what Tyreek Hill wants to do. Right. Where Alex Smith is, you in a race down the field.
Nah.
So I kind of look at it, that reverse psychology impact of it. So that's my 5. It's Julio, DeAndre, Devonte, Michael, and Diggs.
I would probably flip flop a couple people.
Yeah.
Mike is coming out of there.
Thomas?
Yeah, Mike
Okay.
Mike is coming out
You
of
think
there.
he's overrated a little bit?
No, I don't think he's
just-
overrated. I do
yeah.
think he's nice. I just think those other guys are just they're spectacular.
Okay.
I do think they're generational, just different, bro. Like the Julio, I would put him at 3.
Yeah, I think we're like,
DeAndre is definitely, just for what he's been able to do his career, he's still at a high level.
right.
Route running, catches everything, bro. Like the run the whole route tree.
Yeah.
Might have lost a step as far as the ability to take off the top of a defense.
Right. And he was never the fastest.
He was never the fastest, but he still was able to catch the ball down the field.
Right,
so that coming down, now he literally has to work. Like it has to be the hands.
Yeah.
Definitely Adams at 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Julio at 3.
Okay.
Adams, his ability to his route running and feet, hands, 17 touchdowns. What more can you really say? Like
he beat every single top tier corner last year. Like literally, they showed all the matches on NFL Game Day or whatever, and he just beat every top corner. He had a great season.
Right, great season. And I don't see Aaron Rodgers, unless Aaron Rodgers is not coming back, as I don't see the fall off. So I don't see how he's not gonna. He might not have 17 touchdowns.
Right.
But I at least envision him having at least double
digits.
digits.
His breakout season was it was a break. It was his first like real big season before. It wasn't 1,000 yards, but it was with the second half with Brett Hundley.
Right.
So I kind of put that him and DeAndre close because they proved that they could.
Right.
You know.
Then you got Julio.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go Stephon at 4.
Okay. Yeah.
For the reasons why you left Tyreek off and why Tyreek's gonna be 5.
Okay.
Stephon is he just shows that he can do it at a high level,
Mhm.
and that did Josh Allen progress? I do. But I do also believe that people got to stop looking at it like he just became this different quarterback
He's
for
not
no
Brett Favre.
reason. Like, you had
Yeah.
a legit number one who
Yeah.
he was on a team where they had 2 number ones.
Right.
And then Tyreek, for everything that he was able to do, the human joystick, take the top off the defense, route running, good hands, just the gadget guy, to the point where people are starting to try to draft people that are like him. The Raiders got Ruggs for that reason.
Right.
And with that wraps up the list. We are 5 minutes over, so we got to wrap it up, guys. Thank you all for watching. We finally got the show right. Hopefully, we're going to check the tape. Tape don't lie. Thank you for watching Juke Boys Sports Show. Make sure you catch us on Instagram at the same name, at Juke Boys Sports Show. Catch us on YouTube. Type in the He Say, She Say channel as well. You'll be able to watch this sports show as well as my other podcast. Thank you all for watching. Peace.